Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here, the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler vlog, or whatever we're calling this thing nowadays. I sometimes get lost with the language that the young people are using, but I'm glad to be here. It's another Tuesday. It is the 8th of November. Hey, did you vote today? Make sure that you perform your civic responsibilities. Get out and do what you need to do. But as you are bringing your day to a close, I want to say thank you for spending, or you're not necessarily bringing your day to a close because some of you are in different time zones in different parts of the world, different parts of the country. So thank you for joining me. I want to say thank you again to those of you who've been with me for the long haul, who have been with me for a while. It is always a pleasure to see so many of you joining, catching the replay, doing all that kind of stuff. I come up here because this channel is about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about taking the time to show up, see what we can do to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. It's about making sure that we take the time to see if I showed up better today than I did yesterday. It's about taking the time to see, am I on the road? Am I on the journey to becoming better, to making sure that I'm a better person, a better human being, a better sister or brother or uncle or aunt or friend? Am I becoming better in my evolution as a human being? That's what this channel is all about. There's enough negativity out there. There's enough people making fun of other people, looking down on other people, doing all that kind of stuff. There's enough of that out there, and that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about challenging us and just showing up and making sure that we are intentional about showing up better. That is my goal. That's my goal, to make sure that we strive to become better, because as I often say, better does not happen 5 years from now. It doesn't happen 2 weeks from now. It doesn't happen 10 years from now. But better happens as soon as you purpose in your heart that I'm going to be better. I can be better. I want to be better. It happens right then. So that's what we are talking about. I'm going to do some talking this evening about making sure that we check on ourselves, checking in with ourselves, because I posed that question some time ago. I asked us, how well do we do at checking in on ourselves? We check in on so many other people. We follow up and see what's going on with them. How are they doing? But how often do we really take time to check in with and on ourselves? And I wanted to talk about that this evening, because sometimes we get so caught up in the busyness of life, in the busyness of what we do, the business of being a mom or a dad or a husband or a wife or a sister or a brother or an uncle or an aunt or a grandchild. We get caught up in our roles until we forget to check in on ourselves. And I want us to take some time to do that today. But before I do that, I want to encourage those of you who are just catching my channel for the first time. If you have not subscribed, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe. And then once you have subscribed, please do me a favor. Go ahead and click on the notification that lets you know whenever I've gone live or whenever I've uploaded new content, because I look so very forward to seeing you all joining me. And then once you've done that, make sure that you invite somebody else to come on and let's talk to Cutler. That's what this is about. This is about a community of winners, a community of people who are really going to some place that's called better. We're going to some place that's called better. I don't want all of my rewards to be in the afterlife and the hereafter and the great by and beyond. There are some things that I want to do and achieve and become while I am alive and well, and get into a stage and a place of better is one of those. So let me just see who is over there in the chat with me, who may have beat me to the chat, who may have gotten there before I did, and I called them the LTTC, Let's Talk to Cutler VIPs. It's just a friendly banter, friendly competition that we have going on. I challenge everybody to just sort of show up to see if they can beat me over to the chat room. So from my end, let me tell you who it looks like beat me over into the chat this evening. Looks like my cousin Marion. Hey, how are you doing, cousin? It's good to see you. I hope that you're doing well. So one of the persons who beat us over there in the chat is Marion. She's a VIP this evening. And then MV says, good evening, Cutler, and hello, everyone. Good evening to you, my friend. You beat me over there in the chat. And then T. Cutler says, good evening to all. It's so good to see all of you. And again, I know we've been spending time sort of talking just stream of conscious about things, making sure that we are okay. You remember the last time we got together, the last time we talked, I wanted to remind you that you're doing good. Keep doing what you're doing. And prior to that, we talked about making sure that we're doing what we can to not just exist, but to live. And this evening, I wanted to challenge you. I wanted to ask you, how good are you at checking in on yourself? You all may remember that. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and do a thumbs up on the conversation, because I rarely remember to ask you all to do that. But some time ago, I asked you all to rate yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being poor and 10 being excellent. I asked you, how good are you at checking in on yourself? And some of you started giving scores and you rated yourself 5, 6, 7, 8. Nobody really gave themselves a 10. But I want us tonight to revisit that. I want us today to revisit that conversation. How good are you at checking in on yourself? And that's the question. Again, we asked that question some time ago because I want us. And I told you that I would follow up, and I'm following up tonight because I want us to be intentional about making sure that we are taking care of ourselves. If we're going to a place that's called better, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves, because sometimes, and you all tell me if I'm on target, sometimes we can go a whole day, a whole week, or a whole month on autopilot. If you're like me, sometimes you get in the rut, you get in the routine of life, and you get on this autopilot and you just do what you do, just second nature. You just get up in the morning and you start functioning, you start doing, you start being, you start presenting, you start showing up on autopilot. And you can do that a whole day, a whole week, or a whole month sometimes, and never stop to really see how you're doing. This is, you all know when I get up here, sometimes I just start sharing things out of my experience. But I try to be so transparent. Sometimes we're functioning on autopilot. We really do. But I am convinced that when we do that, we never stop to check in on ourselves. And I'm convinced that the only way you're going to be, I believe this, you all, the only way that you're going to be effective at taking care of other people is by learning to take care of yourself. The only way. Thank you, cousin, for at least letting me know that I'm on the right target. The only way that you are going to be effective at taking care of other people is by learning to take care of yourself. And the only way you're going to be effective at taking care of yourself is by checking in on yourself. I think about, and again, I'm only, if you join for the first time or you haven't been here that often, I'm only here for 1,800 seconds. I think about a doctor who will make his or her rounds in a hospital all day long, but never check in on him or herself. Get to the end of the day and never check in on him or herself. We're moving, we're running, we're doing what we do. Thank you, T. Cutler, Tracy, MV. That's right. We do autopilot. We do what we do. And we keep doing it. Doctors making rounds, checking on their patients, but never checking on themselves. Lawyers who will help everybody else, making sure that their affairs are in order, and they don't stop to make sure that their own affairs are in order. Dietitians who and nutritionists who are making sure that everybody else gets a good meal, making sure that everybody else eats a balanced meal. Everybody else eats healthy, but will eat a bunch of junk. It happens, people. We function on autopilot. We're busy doing what we do, and we don't stop to check in on ourselves. And then this is what happens. And let me know if this has ever happened to you, if you've ever done it, if you've ever been the recipient of this. Talking about checking in on yourself. Linda, absolutely. Caregivers, busy taking care of people, making sure that everybody else is all right. Going to the hospitals, going to the rehab centers, going to the nursing homes, or right there in the home, taking care of everybody else, but not taking a moment to take care of yourselves. At least check in with yourselves, for goodness sake, for God's sake, and for your sake. Because you all know what happens sometimes. People will ask you, how are you doing? How's your day going? And then it seems like they tune a deaf ear, as if they're really not interested. So nobody checks on you, and you don't check in on yourself. Sometimes we've asked people with our mouths, how are you doing? We say that with our mouths, but our actions seem to suggest that we're not the least bit concerned. Because as soon as we say, how are you doing, we don't even give them the chance to answer before we take off and go into something else. So we don't get a chance to check in. But I wanted to be very intentional about checking in tonight. These 1800 seconds, I wanted us to be intentional about making sure that we stop and check in on ourselves, because before we put our head on the pillow, before we turn in for the evening, I got a few questions, because I want to make sure that we are really checking in with ourselves. Let's walk through those if you don't mind, because and please catch the replay. If you miss this, or if you don't get an opportunity to put your responses in the chat or anything like that, then please go back and catch the replay. This is just one of those check in on yourself. Don't forget to check in on yourself conversations that we're having. Before you go to sleep, before you turn in tonight, make sure that you've taken some time. Make sure that you've taken time to unwind. I had to do it today, and I almost felt guilty about doing it. I came in and I sat on the sofa and I just put my head back and I dozed off. And then I sat up and I said, "Oh, don't fall asleep," because I said to myself, there was something about falling asleep. I felt like I was going to waste time, but wasting time. It's been whether it's been a long day or not, it was a day filled with activity. Make sure that you take time to unwind. Ask yourself, have I sat in silence? Have I done nothing? Have I taken a brief nap? Have I gone for a walk? Have I taken the time to pray or meditate? One of the things that you've got to make sure that you do, you all, is just unwind. Because guess what we do? You all know we get up in the morning, and as soon as we get up, we start working ourselves up. I mean, we'll work up our routine. We just jump up and especially those of us who are on autopilot, you jump up and you keep going. You build up your speed, you build up your momentum. It's like a car on the highway. You build up your speed and momentum. But as you're approaching a stop sign or a red traffic light or the end of a trip, we need to slow down. You got to slow down. You don't just come to a screeching halt, but learn to unwind. So as you are getting to the end of your day, learn how to unwind. Learn how to unwind. Yes, McDina, whatever you call it. Yeah, checking in on yourself or reflecting or something. But make sure that as you're getting to the end of your day, as you're checking on yourself, you're doing something that connotes this moment of, let me make sure that I unwind. Whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's reflecting, whether it's sitting in silence, whether it's taking a nap, whether it's going for a walk, whatever it is, make sure you do something that helps you to unwind. If you all could see me sometimes at the end of my days, sometimes I'll walk in and don't even turn on the light. I'll just sit there. Or maybe I move from one room to the next and just sit there and breathe and exhale and just thankful that I can do that. Tracy said, yes, it's good to just sit and be still for 15 minutes. It really is good, Paula D. That's the same as traveling on a plane. When an emergency occurs, you have to put your mask on first so that you can help. That's right. That's right, Paula. People, they say it's part of the dialogue. It's part of the script. Please make sure that you put your mask on before you try to help other people. You've got to learn how to take care of yourself, y'all. It is really important. It's not egotistical. It's not conceit. It's not arrogance. It's making sure that you put yourself in a position to be able to help somebody else. It's like that. And so, yeah, so make sure that you unwind. Make sure that you unwind. And then one of the things I would ask you, if you want to make sure that you really, as you're checking in on yourself, this works for me. Maybe this doesn't work for you. And I get that, because we're certainly all with different people. But for me, one of the things that's important for me is to make sure that I've had human interaction outside of my household. Whether it's talking to a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a cashier, a clerk, the postal delivery person, or somebody outside of my household, I like to make sure that I've had human interaction. Now, some of these postal people, leave them alone because they're on a schedule and they're trying to get stuff delivered. Don't hold them up, but at least stop and say hi to somebody else. When you're going through the line, the checkout line, look at the name badges and call people by their names. Have human interaction with somebody outside of your household. That just works for me. It really, really does. It helps me. It works for me. If I am going to just check in and make sure at the end of the day that I've checked in and I've done stuff that really helps me, that works for me, making sure that I have interaction outside of my household is very important. And making sure that you all, I'm going to toss this one out because this is so, we probably don't think about this next thing that I'm about to share, but it is so important. We say things like, oh, I've got 5 senses and we have the ability to see, to hear, to taste, to touch, to smell, do all that kind of stuff. McDonald says, would that include computer interaction? No, human interaction. Now, McDonald, we can have human interaction through the use of computers, if we want to email, text, talk, or something. But for me, it just helps me to make sure that I have interaction with people outside of my household. But this next thing that I'm going to share with you, it just makes us think in terms of checking in with ourselves. We have 5 senses, right? But ask yourself this: can you think of a fragrance that you enjoyed smelling today? Come on, if we're checking in with ourselves and we're making sure that we had a good day, a whole day, and how was I doing today? Can you think of a fragrance that you enjoyed smelling today? We have 5 senses: the ability to touch, to see, to hear, to taste, and to smell. Have we used all of them? Can you remember using them? Can you think of a scent, an odor, or fragrance that you enjoyed smelling? Think about it. Our senses are fully functioning every day, 24 hours. Well, not that your taste is stuff 24 hours a day, but we have those abilities every day. But do we take the time to appreciate what we're capable of doing? Do we really appreciate the abilities that we have? And I'm going to give you all this one. If you can't think of a fragrance that you've enjoyed smelling today, then before you turn in for this evening, go and spray on some cologne or perfume or something before you go to bed. Think about it. I'd love for y'all to just drop that in the chat and let me know what fragrance you've enjoyed smelling today. Or have you even thought about it? Linda says her air freshener. Absolutely. I want one of the air fresheners in my car. I love that smell. And when I get in my car, I'm so aware of it because I love that. This morning when I sprayed on cologne, I love that smell and I remember that. But if you can't think of a fragrance that you've enjoyed today, just spray cologne or perfume or something on before you go to bed. I don't drink coffee, but I love the smell of coffee in the morning. I love the aroma of fried bacon. I love the smell of toast. I think about all those things. So you want to ask yourself, have I fully enjoyed everything today? And then here's something else, you all. I'm not going to be here long. Right. Marrying your Egyptian musk. Absolutely. Think about it, you all. Ask yourself. I'll move on in a moment, but ask yourself, that's a good question. What fragrance do we even think about it? That's when I say we're in autopilot and we're just moving and being and presenting and showing up. And sometimes we don't even stop to think about those things. Catch me in I get these two stores mixed up because sometimes I say Bed Bath and Beyond, but then there's Bath and Body Works. Yeah. So yes, in Bath and Body Works, I get those what are those? Those bath gels. Those. Yeah, it's just shower gel, bath gel. Yeah, and Medina, there you go. Bath and Body is eucalyptus and spearmint. I love that smell. I love that scent. I love that fragrance. So go through your day and think, if I can't think of something that I've enjoyed through the sense of smell, then my day is not fulfilled. Let me check in with myself to make sure that I'm enjoying life, that I'm enjoying my day, that I'm enjoying my time. And then here's another one. And I'm just throwing this out, you all. This is just a way that we can check in on ourselves because the whole day will pass us by. But here's another one. Have you given yourself kudos for something that you've done today? Probably not. I know we're challenged in that area because, again, we're so busy helping people, helping other people, taking care of other people. But have you given yourself kudos for something that you've done today? Today was not a complete failure. It was not a complete waste. It was not a flop. It was not a flaw. It was none of those things. But have you given yourself kudos for something that you've done today? Everything didn't go wrong. You've done something well. You've done something good today. You've done something noteworthy. You've done something commendable. You've done something that is to be applauded. Think about it. And have you given yourself kudos? And again, it has nothing to do with ego, self-aggrandizement, or being or arrogant or conceited or any of that. Not at all. It is about saying, you know what? My life is filled with and full of goodness. And there's some things that I've done that are good. There's some things that I've done that are noteworthy. There's some things that I've done that can be applauded. There's some things that I've done that are excellent. There's some things that I've done some things that are well today. So stop, take a moment and give yourself kudos for the things that you've done today. Maybe you looked out for somebody else, commendable, noteworthy. Maybe you did a favor for a friend or a neighbor or a family member, commendable. Maybe you were honest and integral, commendable. Maybe you took the high road when you could have taken the low road. Give kudos to yourself before you turn in at the end of the day. Stop and say, you know what? I've done something that's commendable. I'll tell you all this. I teach an online Sunday school course, and I was teaching a course this past Sunday, and I asked the class, how would they describe themselves, or how would family and friends describe them? And then I think the next question was, how do you think God would describe you? But the question dealing with how do you describe yourself, or how do you see yourself? It was amazing to me that a lot of people, or several of the people, as we were chit-chatting, as they were talking, they just started saying to themselves, or that their response to me was, it was filled with, when I said, how would you describe yourself? They didn't describe themselves in these wonderful ways that I saw them. They just didn't. So what I heard was that sometimes we are our biggest and worst critics. And sometimes we are our biggest saboteurs. We self-sabotage so much. And it comes from, we've been conditioned to see the bad that we do. But I challenged them Sunday morning, just like I challenge you all, to see the good in what you do. See the stand-up person that you are. See the invaluable person that you are in this thing that's called humanity. See that you are a part of the Creator's handiwork, a part of the Creator's artwork, a part of the Creator's gallery, a part of the Creator's museum. That's who you are. Full of treasure and values. You are a priceless commodity. So learn as you get to the end of your day, learn how to see good that you brought to the earth. A lot of times we get lost in, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Your purpose is to make a difference, to make a change, to add positivity to this thing that's called humanity and earth. That is your purpose. Learn how to operate, learn how to function in that, learn how to realize, you know what, as my day comes to a close, it was not all bad. There's some things that I did that was good. So let me just applaud myself. If nobody pats me on the back, let me pat myself on the back and say, you did good today. You did a good deed. Keep right on going. So you got to think about it. I took care of myself today. I had a slight fever. More envy. I hope you feel better, my friend. But taking care of yourself is a good thing, and I'm glad you did that. Give yourself a hand for doing that. Tracy, thank you. I checked on some people who are going through some issues. Thank you for checking on other people. In the same way you checked on other people, I hope people are checking on you, my friend. Give yourself a pat on the back for checking on other folk, doing something that was commendable, doing something that was noteworthy. That's right, T. Cutler. Give yourself a hand for something that you did. Paula, thank you. I assisted an elderly woman in the grocery store today to help find a product. Thank you for doing that. May the good that you do for others be returned to you. Mary, been appreciating the moon phases and its meaning lately. Was up at 5 a.m. sitting on the porch admiring the lunar eclipse and recognizing the spiritual connection as it relates to the return of Christ. But all creation, see the beauty in everything that's going on. That's the part. In fact, at 5 a.m., you were, as you were building up the day, you were taking a moment to appreciate what the day held, what it included. Linda, you did your weekly meal preps for your disabled brother. God bless you. That's a good deed. May the good you do for others be returned to you. I'm telling you all, take the time at the end of the day to say, you know what? Let me give myself kudos for something that I've done, because today, the whole day didn't go awry. Check in with yourself. Check on yourself. Be good to yourself. This is about self-love, self-care, all of those sorts of things. Got another one. When I think of checking in and being fully aware of who we are, think about, what sound did you enjoy today? We go the whole day hearing and listening and listening and hearing. But do we really take the time to appreciate what we're hearing? I was moving throughout the day and showing up at different places and doing what I do. And one of the things that I made sure I did today, I listened to music, and I enjoyed listening to music. And then near the end of my day, or the latter part of the day, I got a phone call. I made a phone call. And I would tell you, one of the greatest sounds, one of my favorite sounds, is the laughter of a baby. One of my favorite sounds in the whole wide world is the genuine laughter of a baby. It makes me smile. It tickles me on the inside. It's such a pure, genuine, powerful sound. Think of it, of a baby laughing. I love that sound. I love the sound of happy children. So I made a call, I got a message, and I made a phone call, and I was speaking to one of my adult relatives. But one of my little cousins had good news to tell me about how well he had done this grading period. And just that sound alone lifted me. So when I think of sounds that I enjoyed, that's one of the sounds, as I bring my evening to a close, that's one of the sounds that just made my day. You got to think, what sounds did I enjoy today? What sights did I enjoy? What touch or feel did I enjoy today? What smells did I enjoy? What taste did I enjoy? What did I enjoy with the 5 senses that I've been given? Let me check in with myself. And so I hope this has helped us to check in. This week, I want us to do more of this as we get to the end of the day. And again, this is maybe not so inspirational, but I hope it's motivating you to check in with yourself. I got to be the best person that I can be so I can show up and be the best person to somebody. I can't be my best to them if I can't be my best to myself. So this week I want us to really check in with ourselves. The next time I think we chat, I'm going to ask you if you've done something that you've been putting off. I want to talk about that. I really want us to check in with ourselves. There's some things, some goals that we have. I'm going to ask you the next time we talk. So you all get ready and tell people to come on. Let's talk to Cutler. Because the next time we chit chat, I'm going to ask you, have you done something that you've been putting off? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say probably let's learn not to procrastinate, because here, and this just going to give you taste. This is going to just be a teaser about what we're going to talk about. One of the things about procrastination, I encourage people not to procrastinate, because sometimes procrastination is a response to the fear of failure. I'm putting it off because I'm afraid that if I do it, I might fail at doing it. But I'm going to talk about that, about doing something that you've been putting off. I'm going to talk about not spending so much energy focusing on other people, because sometimes that energy that I spend focusing on other people is better spent focusing on me. Yes, I think that I'm going to pick up with that. I'm going to pick up with not spending time focusing on so many other people, because that energy can be better spent focusing on me. Let's challenge ourselves even to get up and get dressed, just to go outside and take a walk. Put on your Sunday best, as we say down south, your Sunday go to meeting, and just get up and go for a walk, or just go and sit in a restaurant. Enjoy life. Check in on yourself. I have a friend whose father is now on life support. And tomorrow, the doctors are going to assist her with the process of pulling the plug. And she's going through the mental and emotional anguish of what life is going to look like without her father. And it is my hope and prayer that she realizes that all of these years she spent taking care of him, she's been doing a good thing. She's been adding to his life. And the one reason she's been able to do so well at what she's doing is because I've watched her show up for herself. I've watched her check in on herself. I've watched her make sure she's a happy person, a whole person. You all make sure you do the same thing. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. All right, let's see. Let me just take a look at these chat before I leave. Asking questions just reminded me to do something I've been putting off. Thanks, Gus. You're a gift from God. And so are you, cousin. All right, so listen, you all do me a favor. Keep maintaining community. So let's keep building community and maintaining connectivity. Stay safe, stay sane, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up, and tell other people, come on, let's talk to Cutler, because we're talking about some real stuff. Next go round again, we're going to keep checking in on ourselves. That's what we're going to do for the rest of this week. I will see you then. Please know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. I'll see you all the next time. Good night, everybody.